I'm a hard gainer and cannot figure out a way to stick to a muscle building diet. How much protein do we really need to build muscle? What foods do you eat on an average bulking day? What do you typically eat to bulk up? There's a young man out there who has been going to the gym for 6 months, maybe even a year, but he's just not seeing gains like he thought he would. He sees his friends going to the gym and they're putting on more muscle than him. They're getting their dream physiques. They're making progress that he hasn't made in a shorter amount of time. And he goes to the gym and works just as hard, but yet doesn't see the same amount of results. He thinks to himself, this is so unfair. There must be something I'm doing wrong. There must be something that I'm missing. This young man does some research and realizes it's actually his diet that is holding him back from gaining his dream physique, stopping him from bulking up, putting on muscle and changing his physique. And once he starts to eat the food that I tell you in this video, he bulks up and becomes almost unrecognizable. I myself struggled with my diet for such a long time. I had listened to these famous actors and even some bodybuilders that just claim, oh yeah, don't worry mate, it was brown rice and it was broccoli and chicken breast that got my gains. Meanwhile, you know, they went from like 60 kilograms to like 90 kilograms. Oh yeah, I'm sure it was the bloody broccoli and the rice, mate, wasn't it? But once I learned that as hard gainers, we actually have to eat a different diet to almost every other person, is when I actually made a huge change in my physique. It's when I actually got the gains that I should have been making all those years ago. This is when I went from around 67 kilograms to almost 90 in the space of 1.5 years, with almost all of that being muscle. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you exactly how I did it. Please like and subscribe to this video and join my free Discord community in the description. I've got nothing to sell you. It's just a place for you to be able to message me and people like yourself. So the first thing that you've got to figure out is how many calories that you need to eat. Go into the description and look at the calorie calculator. I'm not affiliated with it at all. It's just a good app. So all you have to do is put in your age and your height, as well as how active you are, and your weight as well. And this basically generates a rough estimate of how many calories you would need in order to maintain your weight at the minute. What we want to do is we want to add 20 to 25% on top of that in additional calories. So for example, if you have 2,000 calories, go for 2,400 or 2,500 calories. So you want to go above your maintenance calories. Now what does this do? This gives your muscles and it gives your body enough energy to actually be able to put more muscle on. Ultimately, from your body's perspective, putting on muscle is not a priority. Just staying alive and trying to reproduce is a priority. So you want to make sure that it's actually above your maintenance calories, which gives it more energy and more fuel to make more muscle. Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. How much protein do you need? I would say do 2.2 grams per kilogram. Do 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram. Now, this is a lot, don't get me wrong. If it's too much for you, maybe go to 1.8 grams per kilogram. But this, for me, is a perfect amount. It's more than what most people say. It's not too much to cause any kind of digestive issues, at least for most people. But it's enough for a hard gainer to actually be able to put on more muscle. If you want to take less than this, then definitely, you know, go ahead. But ultimately, this is what worked for me, and this is what I believe will work for most hard gainers. You need to go a bit above and beyond because our bodies just generally find it a little bit harder to put on more weight and especially more muscle. Another thing is you gotta eat more fat. A lot of people are scared of fat. Don't be scared of fat. I'm for real. Don't be scared of fat. We'll get into this more later on in the video. But the cuts of meat that you want need to be fatty meat. Now, why am I saying this? 2 reasons. These cuts of meat actually help you generate more testosterone, and that is vital for muscle growth as well. And the second reason is because, and this is the main reason really, is it gives you so much more calories, it's unreal. A chicken breast compared to a chicken thigh is going to have way less calories than a chicken thigh. This is why a lot of people struggle when they are trying to put muscle on in the gym, because they are having the rice and the broccoli and the chicken breast, and that's not even really that much of a high calorie meal. Instead, at least from my opinion, what I would do is I would have chicken thighs, I would have broccoli, maybe I would have rice, but really it's sweet potato is what you want to go for. So don't be afraid of fat. Also, don't be afraid of carbs, especially if you're working out and especially if you're working hard. I would say the best ones, and these are the holy grails, is you want sweet potatoes, you want potatoes, just normal ones, and you want rice. Doesn't really matter which rice you have. Me personally, I love the Green Dragon Jasmine rice. That one's really nice. Also, it's really cheap. You can have oats if you want. I don't really think oats are that great. They don't have that much of an impressive nutritional profile. They do have fiber, which you do need, but if you want to take that, just put it in your smoothie or something. It is fantastic if you're going to do some kind of endurance sport. I used to eat a lot of oats when I did my marathon last year, but it's not really something that you need for muscle growth exactly. Let's go straight into the food that I think you should actually be eating, the food that I think you should be buying from the grocery store, the food that will actually transform your physique. These are some things that you might have heard of before and some things that you might have thought, oh, I didn't think about that one. So this is starting out with meat. As I said before, chicken thighs are amazing. If you keep the skin on, there's even more calories, but that is a little bit too much for me. So I usually go for skinless chicken thighs. This is high in calories, high in protein, high in fats, really good for bulking. Chicken breast as well is a good option, but you need to make sure that you're eating a lot of it and make sure that you're having it with some kind of carb. It's really nice with sweet potatoes. Chicken drumsticks and wings also work too. Chicken wings in particular are quite fatty. They are a little bit lower in the protein count, and also you do get less meat when you do buy chicken wings, although they are lovely, and I usually just go through a whole pack, which is good for bulking because I'm just having a lot of calories at that point. The next item on this list is fatty cuts of beef and lamb. So we're talking about sirloins, ribeyes. They can sometimes run expensive, but if you go to Aldi or something, you'll be able to get it a little bit cheaper than everywhere else, and I can tell you it is actually really amazing. It's not like you're getting it cheaper and it's crap. Actually, I would personally recommend the Aldi ones because I've had the sirloins from Sainsbury's and they're actually worse, if I'm quite honest, but that's going off topic. Lamb as well, so we're talking about lamb chops, lamb shoulder, nice cuts of fatty meats that are high in calories, high in fats and high in protein. Protein is important. You need to make sure you're getting a high amount of protein as well. 20% beef mince, again I'm talking about fat. You need to make sure that you're getting 20% of the beef mince fat. This increases the calories so much, and it just makes it tastier as well. So try and get that one. Not only is the 20% actually cheaper, again it's better for your goals, putting on weight and putting on muscle. And the last thing that I would talk about is cheaper cuts of pork. So for example, pork belly, pork like feet and stuff like that. These are typically really fatty. They are good for bulking. They do have a lot of calories in them, but they don't have that much of a high count of protein. These are definitely like D tier if we're doing a tier list. These are definitely on the lower, like kind of treat level if you really want something out of the blue, maybe something that you have once every single week or once every other week, and then you fill the rest of your days up with the other more optimal cuts of meat. That would be better, but sometimes pork is nice, but just nutritionally it's not great, and we are talking about reaching our goals here. When we're talking about fish, we want fish that is high in omega-3 fatty acids, so we're talking about mackerels, salmons, like sardines and other canned ones, tuna as well. Amazing for muscle growth. Such high in protein, so high in fat as well, and so high in omega-3s, which is really important for muscle growth as well. This is why I see a lot of people taking supplements specifically with that in it. I wouldn't recommend white fish, and I'm only saying this because it's an amazing option for a low calorie but high protein fish, and you can kind of think to yourself, oh, why would I not want that? Because protein fills you up. If you have like 60 grams of protein as opposed to 20 grams of protein, but it's the same amount of calories, you will get way more filled up with the 60 gram meal than the 20 gram meal. So we do need to make sure we are getting enough protein in, and of course that white fish would do the job, but you would end up eating less, which actually gives your body less calories to work with, which is something that we're trying to avoid. So try not to have too much white fish, trying to make the transition over to mackerel or to salmon or the other fishes that I mentioned. Now moving away from the meat and the fish, we're going more towards vegetables and which ones are the best for muscle growth. So broccoli and asparagus are just fantastic all around nutritional, vitamin and nutrient dense vegetables that you must have in your diet. They are just classics. I would say as well, kale is amazing. It's got a little bit of vitamin K in there as well, which is very healthy for you, as well as spinach. Spinach also is amazing for nutritional profile, but it also has something called nitric oxide in it, which actually helps your blood vessels relax, which means that more blood can flow through it, which means that you'll be able to have a better workout. I'll mention later some more things that has nitric oxide in it that I recommend you have, but the first one I will recommend is actually beetroot. beetroot is one of the most potent for this kind of element, for this nitric oxide. So try this if you can. Eat lots of beetroot and then go to the gym and see how you perform. I would say as well, carrots, another one that's fantastic for nutritional benefits, as well as you could just have them raw if you like that, and that works for a really good healthy snack. As well as onions and garlic. If you don't like onions and garlic, literally just grow up and get some better taste buds, because they are just really tasty, and garlic in specific is good for testosterone as well as other muscle building stuff. But the holy grail of vegetables that you must buy, like you must buy and you must have, is sweet potatoes. These are healthy for the gut and they are so calorie dense, but they are absolutely delicious. Like, they are amazing. They also have a little bit of fiber in there as well. Cook it with some butter. Perfect bulking snack. Perfect bulking side dish, like without a doubt. Going into fruit now. So going into fruit, there's not that many fruits that I would say are actually bad for muscle growth. Kind of just have any fruit that you want. Berries are antioxidants. Bananas, high in potassium as well as high in just general calories. Pomegranates, that's another one that has the nitric oxide in it, which is important for blood flow and making sure that your muscles are working to an optimal state. I would also argue that pineapples are actually a really good option, because they have digestive enzymes in it that actually help you break down the protein that you will be shoving into your body throughout this bulking journey. And the last but not the least is dates. Now, dates are kind of used almost as a snack. They are a high carbohydrate and high sugar snack. So kind of have it before your workouts. If you're doing like an endurance, then it would be perfect. But have a little bit of that dates, have that as the snack instead of having, just some crap, I don't know, red 40 meal. Another holy grail one, along with sweet potato, is avocados. High in fat, high in monounsaturated fat, which is known to be the healthier option, as well as just being a perfect fruit for your breakfast. So for me personally, I actually have, I should have mentioned, and the last meat that I will mention is eggs. Eggs are amazing. Very high in calories, very high in fats, a diverse amount of nutrients and vitamins. I have 5 scrambled egg in the morning with a whole avocado, and that is basically like 1,000 calories. It's super nutritious. It's amazing for muscle growth and for bulking. Definitely get your hands on some avocados. Definitely get your hands on some eggs. As I said earlier on, avocados are amazing. I have them in my breakfast almost every single day. Try and get your hands on some good avocados. It can be difficult to find ones that are actually ripe, but kind of make sure that they're soft to the touch. Put both fingers on both sides and then just slowly go like that and see if it gives a little. If it gives, it'll be perfect. If it just completely melts in your hand, then it's gone too far, and if it's rock hard, it's not ripe yet. The last section here is herbs and spices. So herbs and spices don't really have that much of a nutritional benefit, or none of them are really bad for muscle growth per se. But what I will say is try and get the seasonings that are just a single ingredient. Try and get just paprika, try and get just garlic powder, try and get just onion powder or onion granules or whatnot. Because what you don't want is to be having paprika with sugar and garlic powder with sugar and onion powder with sugar, because then you're making this meal and you're basically like constantly microdosing on sugar in pursuit of making this meal taste nice, but then it's not actually as good for you. I'm not going to be explaining why sugar is bad in this video, but try and just get single ingredient herbs and spices if you can. Watch this video here to improve your muscle gains.